Welcome to the Page of Our Lives podcast with your hosts, Paige Evanson and me, Leslie Stewart. Every week, we take a page from our own lives or the life of an inspiring friend and give you the Cliff's Notes. Friends, we have a great episode today. If you ever struggle getting up in the morning, this show is for you. We visit with Dara LaPorta. Dara lives in sunny Tampa, Florida with her husband, Matt, and kids Sienna, Price, Maddox, and Tessa. In 2014, Dara started Fit to Shine, a virtual health coaching business. And recently, she released her first online course called Rise and Shine. It's a guide to help create a morning routine. And I don't know about you, but I could use all the help I can get in the mornings. Dara loves Jesus, reading fiction, and playing outside. So hey, let's turn the page and meet Dara LaPorta. Like hitting the start button to stop the computer. This is another day in the page of our lives. Well, hey, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Page of Our Lives. We are super excited. We have a special guest with us today, Dara LaPorta. Welcome, Dara.
Thank you.
So, Paige, why don't you kick us off and tell us tell us a little bit about how you know Dara, and we'll kind of jump into our conversation today.
Well, Dara, I just love Dara. For those of you who can't see Dara, she is an amazing mom of 4 kids, all at the time of this recording, they are under 9 years old. So the fact that she's getting to hide away in her office, I believe all the kids are at school. She has 1 dog. Dara is a health and fitness coach and just all over more like a wellness. I feel like she's like our wellness woman, like she's the person who encourages us all, whether it be in person or virtually, to take care of ourselves. So, and not just take care of our bodies, but take care of our mind and our spirit as well. So Dara, the connection that we have between all 3 of us is Dara's dad actually started the church, Grace Family Church, where I met Dara and where I also met Leslie. So thanks, shout out to your parents, Dara, for I guess the original connection. So Dara's married to a former baseball player. He's not doing that anymore. He's doing all kinds of other awesome stuff that she can tell us about. But so I have that in common with Dara. We both married baseball players, so we probably could have a good therapy session with one another. But that's yes. not where we're going today. So, but Dara, we're so glad that you joined us here today. I know you are super busy, like the rest of us, but you're able to get it done, and you got some tricks up your sleeve. So we're excited to hear what those are, how to just be a better all around woman. So we're excited that you're here. Thanks for joining us.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm happy to be here. Thank you.
So I know that, why don't you tell our listeners a little bit about how you got into health and fitness. That's really your passion. But I know it kind of came maybe as a surprise to you as to kind of how you landed where you are today.
Yeah. So, I did sports in high school. I did sports in college. I was a pole vaulter, on the track team, which is pretty random to most people, at the University of Florida. So I definitely, understood the importance of being healthy and fit and well in all areas. And I did study exercise and sports science, but mostly just because I was like, well, if I have to do something, that's what I would, I guess, want to do. But I never really wanted a career. I never wanted a side hustle. I never wanted to work outside or inside the home, which maybe sounds lazy. But I just really always wanted to be a mom, a stay-at-home mom, and have a big family and be with my kids. And that's really all I wanted. And God is so good. I got that. I had Sienna, and then 2 years later, I had twin boys. And so it was truly like, and 2 years after that, I had Tessa. But my story starts after the twins. But it was everything I could have wanted. God had given me, I even wanted twins. Like I had like a secret desire for twins. I couldn't believe it, and I got there, and man, I wasn't as good at it as I thought I would be. It was so much harder than I thought it would be. And I just I didn't feel like myself. I would say it started even before having Sienna. Paige might have felt this at a time when just following my husband's baseball career around, there really was no place for me. There was nowhere I could work, even without kids. There was nowhere I could kind of plant myself and have my thing. So I think it started even before kids, but I thought kids would fix it. And when it didn't, it came as a really big surprise to me. And I felt guilty for feeling like, why isn't this enough? Why all I wanted was to be a mom? Like, I believe in the calling of motherhood. I still believe it's my highest calling. So why isn't this enough? So there was a lot of guilt wrapped up. And, it happened over time, but I just really wasn't myself. And I wouldn't have said I was unhappy in the moment because I would have felt bad for saying that. But looking back again, I was just so far from being who I wanted to be, who I believe God created me to be. So I just got to that place where I was desperate and I needed to do something different. And again, I kind of went back to like, well, what else did I used to be good at before kids? That's how else I felt. I felt like I wasn't good at anything anymore. I felt like I had zero. If someone had asked me like, oh, what are your unique gifts? I don't think I could have named them. I just was so buried and drowning in motherhood and, pumping and feeding and diaper changing. So when I got to that place though, I was like, okay, well, I used to be good at like, sports and health and fitness. I need to get back to feeling like myself again. And maybe that's the first step. And so that is when I tried Beachbody for the first time. I was not going to load 3 babies up in a car to go to a gym in that season of my life. And so reluctantly and skeptically, I started Beachbody and I started just, pressing play on a program. And 3 months later, I just felt like a completely different person. My husband said, you are more like the girl I fell in love with in college than you've been. At that point, we had been married 6 years, and I just was back to feeling like me, which made me be like, I bet other moms feel this way. I need to share that this worked for me. It may not work for everyone, but it's going to work for some people. And that's kind of where that all started.
Yeah. I love that you shared that. And so I know one of the things that you kind of uncovered during, and how long ago was that? I mean, that kind of, how old are your twins now?
Sorry. Yeah. The twins are as old as my business. They're 7. So,
okay. Well, there you go. They're your milestone.
They are. No, it's true. They were 2 months after they were born is when I started. So
I love
it
that.
was January of 2014
that
I started my business.
I resonate with so much of what you're talking about in terms of, I mean, really, I think what you're talking about is you were in an identity crisis in a way at that point in your life. And you thought the identity was going to be Dara LaPorta mom. And when you got that identity, it wasn't fulfilling you in the way that you thought. And I think that's something that so many women resonate with, whether you're a mother or I know for me, my story for 10 years was Leslie Stewart Professional. That was where I found my identity. And I thought all of my happiness and everything was going to be anchored in that. And I wasn't happy. And so I just really love that you had an awakening, if you will, to the fact that not that being a mother, like you said, it really is the highest calling, but it isn't what we hang our hats on. It's not where we anchor ourselves. And we can lose ourselves in that. And so the fact that you were able to kind of go back and find this passion again for fitness and wellness and taking care of you, I think that's something that as a mom, I know this is something I personally struggle with, is kind of always putting myself last in the line of people to be cared for. And I think that's kind of a natural tendency that mothers have. And one of the things I know from your story is that through this journey, you have found that getting up early has actually been the key to finding time for you. And so talk to us a little bit about, when did you sort of make this realization? I know it doesn't seem like rocket science, but but what was that transition about? How come morning routines and kind of getting up early has become so important to you?
Yeah. So it was in 2017. So my business was 3 years old. Things were going really well. I also had another baby though. So I had, 4 kids, 5 years old and under. And I was trying to do business, and I just reached this point where I felt like I was living under my potential in every area of my life. I think it's okay to live under your potential in one area as long as that's going into another area, right?
Yeah.
And it's okay. You can't do it all. I firmly believe that we cannot do it all. But I felt like I was not meeting a standard in any area. And so I realized I came to a place where I was like, I either have to seriously lower my standards business wise, not in motherhood. That to me is still, always my first priority. But I'm really gonna have to lower my standards, my goals business wise, or I'm gonna have to do something different. And I did not want waking up early to be my answer. How you're like, I'd rather this be the solution, Jesus. Just give me more time in the day.
Yeah.
That will work. Which I guess, ironically, when you're waking up earlier, you are giving yourself more time. I didn't want it to be my solution, but I started doing it and it worked. And I felt like, again, it was just this other like revolution, this other 180 of just feeling like a different person. My attitude towards motherhood, towards my business was so different when I took that time in the morning. Activities business wise that I would like drag through in the afternoons when I waited for my kids to nap, I was like flying through with energy and enthusiasm in the morning. And something I realized, I don't remember where I read it. Maybe it was Brendan Burchard, possibly John Maxwell, but we all talk about managing your time, but I think it's really about managing your energy and trying to do some of those important things that need to get done when you're at your best, not waiting till 2:00 in the afternoon where I don't know anyone who has a lot of energy at that time of day. But that's when I was waiting to get some of my most important work done business wise. So that aspect business wise was very transformative. But then also, I mean, we've all woken up with that kid's, face right in our face. And you're just like, oh, go away. Or you wake up to them already screaming and fighting. Like, that is not how I want to greet my kids in the morning.
Yeah.
It is not how I want to wake up. And so even if it's 10 minutes where you get up first and you wash your face and you brush your teeth, you will greet your children differently than if they wake you up and you're mad about it, which usually you're mad when someone wakes you up. So,
Dara, what do you do? Like, okay, I know this doesn't just happen overnight because I read all the books and the podcasts and all kinds of things, whatever. And it was like, this is what people do. They do these certain activities and they get up early. And that all sounds like, yay, that's so great. But I don't know how in the world to do that. I'm so stinking exhausted.
Yeah.
Like, what do you do on those days when you're like, I don't feel like this. I don't feel, because I know a lot of moms, I feel like we struggle with a lot of self-doubt and we're just weary and tired. And so just tired and thinking, I don't want to do this, or I know it also dependent on our cycles. A lot of times, like at the beginning of the month, we're like, yeah, we can do everything. And then it comes, it's that time of the month again. And you're like, I don't feel like it anymore. And I'm tired and life is terrible. And the kids are terrible. And the dogs are terrible, all those things. So what do you tell yourself on those days when you don't necessarily feel like getting up early? How do you encourage yourself and then others to push past that? Are you just like militant where we're getting this done, or do you give yourself grace?
So it's funny you say that. There was even up until even 2 months ago, I was pretty like militant. If I wasn't up at I do 4:50 alarm, I'd press snooze once, which some people say don't press snooze. I just don't believe in that. I press snooze once, I wake up at 5. It felt like I had failed, which is so my personality. And literally just in the last 2 months, I first of all decided to prioritize at least 7 hours of sleep over waking up early. So if I'm not getting 7 hours of sleep, I'm not going to wake up at 5. It might push me to 5:30 to get that 7 hours in, and being okay with that. So it's a discipline. Obviously, waking up early is a discipline, but really the discipline starts the night before with going to bed at a reasonable time.
Tell us about that. What time do you go to bed?
Well, it's so cyclical because this week I have been waking up at 5 because I've been falling asleep by 9:30 because I've been waking up at 5.
Sure.
You cannot stay up late.
Mm,
Or some
no.
people I'm sure can, but also again, the little things, not having caffeine after 4 p.m. It is gonna affect how late you go to bed. So trying to just be disciplined in that, if I'm in bed by 10, then I will be okay. 5 a.m.
Mhm.
is my goal tomorrow. But stuff happens, I enjoy spending time with my husband in the evening. So if he's home late from something, I'm probably going to wait up. And so I've started giving myself more grace where maybe it's 6 a.m. We wake up the kids at 6:30 for school. So even 6 a.m. is giving me a moment. It's giving me time to drink my coffee in peace. It's giving me time to maybe read a few verses or do a short devotion, to brush my teeth.
Yeah.
So, to circle back, I do give myself more grace now. I would never tell someone to wake up at 5 when you're going to bed at 11 or 12 or later every night.
Sure.
I don't believe in that. I've read
Yeah.
too many books lately about the importance of sleep. And I
Yeah.
actually think that should be a higher priority than having, a certain amount of time in the morning. And then you said, what gets me out of bed in the morning? I literally say out loud to myself, and this is in my course and in my free guide, it is always worth it.
Mm,
Like they say, you're never going to regret a workout. Now you have to experience waking up early first and like see how that feels and how much better you feel. But once you've done it for those few days, it's like, it really is always worth it. And that's what gets me out of bed. In the morning when I
I
don't
think,
feel like it. When I
yeah.
know I've gotten my sleep, I just don't feel like it. You're still tired. And I think that's like a lie too. Like I don't jump out of bed at 5 in the morning without an alarm clock. Like that has never happened to me. So I think people assume it's gonna start like
Yeah.
it really doesn't get easier.
No.
You just sorry.
Well,
Um
and when we get a lot older, I know my grandparents, they wake up without an alarm clock at like 4 or 5 in the morning. So I think maybe when we get to our
my dad
70s or
does
80s,
too.
we can look forward
Maybe.
to that. But
Yeah. I
Not my
something to
parents.
look
My
forward
mother
to.
says she's the owl married to the rooster. So my mom,
yeah.
my, in
My
our house,
parents.
we have this. I have this joke. I'm not a morning person. I could stay up with the best of them. And my joke is always, listen, I was not physically born until 9:31 a.m. So my body is just not waking up before then. So of course my life
I
has
love
forced me
that.
to have to get up before 9:31 a.m. But I really blame the fact that I wasn't born before then with why I can't get up in the morning. But I want to ask you, so this last year, obviously the world has experienced, everything's been different. And so many people have, 90% of the world shifted to working from home. And I think that can really has really messed with people's processes and their rhythms of kind of, hey,
Hmm.
I get up at this time and I get showered and dressed
Yeah.
and I leave and I go to work. And so talk to me a little bit about how do you set rhythms when kind of all the other things in your life have sort of are not running the normal routine. I mean, I just feel like this has been 2020 is the year of the yoga pant. I mean, it's like I don't even have to shower, I don't have to look at people. And there's
Yeah.
an element of that that's freeing, honestly, and it's
Yeah.
been great. I think it's kind of stripped away some things that we haven't needed, but I also know, just personally speaking, it kind of brought some bad habits back, and I've had to unlearn, some things, and I've had to remind myself, like, getting up and taking a shower is actually a good thing. Like, it helps you with your day.
Yeah.
So talk to me a little bit
Yeah.
about, like, what have you seen with some of your clients and some of the things that you've seen around that?
I think as a mom to all those babies, that's what I was missing. Every day felt the same. Every day just felt like I had very little control over how my kids were going to behave that way. And starting incorporating that fitness routine is what made me, it's like it grounded me. It's like, this is my fitness time. And it just gives you those little benchmarks throughout your day. Having those just like non negotiable things you do, I think can bring structure to a, 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 a day when things have been the way they've been.
Yeah.
And obviously waking up early can be a part of that. And I felt during that time I was waking up early, and because we didn't have to get the kids to school, they were waking up later. I was getting everything done I needed to get done before they were even up.
Yeah.
So I think like there was a lot of freedom, like you said, in that, and kind of creating more time for myself in the morning. And yeah, I think if you can find those few habits, those few daily disciplines that just ground you and like bring rhythm to your day, even if you don't need to do them, like you said, showering or making your bed. Making my bed has become like just this thing I do every day, and it grounds me, it gets my day going, it makes me feel like I've accomplished something already.
Yes.
Now,
I'm a bed maker as well.
I want to know, what about your husband? Is he on board with your, I mean, I know there's got to be some that'll be listening to this, like, that's great, but there's no way I can get my spouse or even my kid, my kids on board. So have you found that the rhythms that you've established, have they been contagious in your household, or is it
Yeah.
still kind of fighting an uphill battle?
So waking up early, Matt, I know, because I know that is an issue. I know we used to be in a much smaller house. And so I felt like I didn't really have anywhere to go, and I was going to wake up my husband in bed, or if I went to the kitchen or living room, I'd wake the kids up. So I get that struggle. And I also will always say there are just seasons of this,
Mhm.
and what works in one season might not work in another, and that's okay. But Matt always wants to get up early, so he doesn't mind if he hears me like rustling around, brushing my teeth. He doesn't get up as early as I do, but it's kind of like probably just become part of his rhythm. Okay, Dara's up. That means I'm gonna, try to get up here pretty soon. And now I do have another place to go, so I don't feel like I'm disturbing him. And then, workouts wise, I just really encourage my clients. Working out at home is a struggle. You're not getting that uninterruptible time that you would at the gym, which is not uninterruptible either because people are talking to you. But I've just encouraged them, like, stay consistent with it. Yes, your kids are going to bother you. They're going to maybe be clingy at first, especially little ones. You're going to have to press pause. But I don't know if you found this page, but eventually, if you stay consistent, they're going to get it. It's a boundary you're setting for yourself, and they will start to get it. Like, oh, that's mommy's workout time. Like, I can be with her, but she's probably not going to want to, do as much for me right now. And I feel like that my kids did just adapt to that part of my life when they were little, and now, especially, it's not as big of an issue. But yeah.
True. My kids definitely, now that they're old enough, sometimes they'll join me in workouts as
Yeah.
well. So, and they're like, "Oh, I totally got this, mom. It's not a problem, whatever." And then they start doing it, and they're like, "Oh, oh, oh."
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
huffing and puffing. They're like, "This is really hard." And I'm like, "Yeah,
Yeah.
get over here. Come on, we're pressing play." And it's also, I found that with kids having so much energy with little kids as well. I mean, my youngest is 8, so she's moving to that next stage. But they were really little when I started doing workouts at home too, and I'm like, just come on, get right in here with us. You've got to
Yeah.
just come on and join with me. So and you can use the baby as the weight oftentimes when they're really
Yes.
little, and then when they're
Yeah.
toddlers, they want to mimic whatever it is that you're doing. So,
So
and
true.
now, hold on. I mean, for those that are watching, and now, oh wait, there he goes. There's my big one. He works out on his own now, so it's
Yeah.
really cool. And
So cool.
he's like making the choice to continue to. Well, he plays a lot of sports, which that helps and stuff. But he also just goes to the gym on his own and buying all this stuff to try to get ripped and you know
Shredded. That's the
get
term.
shredded. Yeah.
That's the
I'm
term. They
not
want to be
ready. I'm
shredded.
not ready for that life.
Oh my god,
Um,
The
it's
teenage
crazy how
boy.
it changes the older they get. And I'm like, oh, where did this man child come
Yeah,
from?
so true.
I
You
can't.
were 7 yesterday.
Yeah.
So
I
So
know.
I want to talk a little bit about your Rise and Shine course. So tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about kind of how you took this habit that you started of getting up early, and now you've actually developed it into an online course for people to learn kind of the
Mhm.
principles and the secrets behind why getting up early matters. Talk to us a little bit about how that happened
Yeah.
and what the course is all about.
Yeah. So, again, I really just think it's one of the most impactful habits outside of really working out every day that is just, again, and it doesn't matter if you're, I think what's great about it a lot of what I do is geared towards like women who have a side hustle or work from home. Like this is just beneficial whether you work, whether you don't. It's beneficial for men, it's beneficial for women. So I love just the universalness, that's a made up word, of it. But it started because I had hired a marketing team, and they encourage you, you need to get an email list and build an email list. And it was like, well, I'm not, what do I build? And so I created a free guide, which anyone can also grab. And the response was just really good. People just, obviously it was something people wanted. And so it was their idea, like, hey, you should make a course, which of course is like, no, I don't have, what would I say? And but there is a lot to say about it. There is a lot people want to know about it. And so we just put it together, and it's again, something I didn't think I would do, but it's something really fun outside of my normal business. That's just been fun to connect with people on, and hear how it's going, and talk to people about it. So, so it's made up of what?
Yeah. Sorry, how long is the course? Like, am I signing up for like a 6-month course, or is it?
No. Oh my gosh. Well, it's all just like, you could press play on the videos whenever you want.
Okay.
So I guess it could take 6 months, but it's probably 15 to 20 videos, honestly, like 3 to 6 minutes each, like really short, just like snippets, which I think is easier than, one 90-minute video. I'm less likely to get through that, or start it even, because you feel like you have to watch it all at once. So yeah. And it just covers why, from the experts, why waking up early can be beneficial, while also just including, this is why it worked for me, little, tips and tricks to getting up early, what I actually do with that morning time, and what, people might want to do as well, and describing those little activities that I do, so they could kind of customize their own morning routine, maybe using some of those activities.
I love that. So what kind of response are you hearing from people who are experiencing this?
It's all been really positive so far. I mean, again, it's pretty new, but people have just been like, yes, I've been wanting to do this, and your post just took me over the edge, so I bought it. And I think, again, it's something that speaks to people. It's one of those habits we'd all like to have.
Yeah.
Most of us, maybe not you, Leslie.
But I'm working on it.
You're working on it. Well, I was going to say, circling way back to Paige's question, or even about the fitness, I always tell my fitness clients, something is better than nothing. Yeah. It's okay if you get interrupted 8 times during a 20-minute workout. Like, something is better than nothing. And I would say the same for the morning routine. I just did a post about this. It doesn't have to be 5 a.m. like me. If you don't have to get up till 8, waking up at 7 will give you plenty of time to do, and so I think starting small, and I always say even 20 minutes before you have to get up, that gives you enough time to probably drink your coffee and brush your teeth. And like that alone, I think, can really be transformative.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I think for me, like getting up early is easy if I just make myself go to bed. That's the problem. I'm a night owl. So
Yes.
It's very hard. I've been married almost 25 years, and it is a ongoing conversation, I'll say it that way, around, are you coming to bed? I am. I like
at any point.
right. Exactly. I like a slow wind down at night. So I have to kind of start that process a lot earlier in order to like match his desired bedtime. That is it's a work in progress. So, where can people find your course?
So my website, which I believe you have, but it is on my website, and there's, a link for the fitness coaching, and a link for the free guide, and a link for the course.
Okay. So, and that's just DaraLaPorta.com, right? DaraLaPorta.com. And we'll put that in the show notes. So you all can find that easily. So, okay. One of the things we like to talk about on this show is, it's called Page of Our Lives, affectionately known as Pool. We love to jump in the pool together. And we talk a little bit about how this show is about kind of a glimpse into Paige's life and my life, and also into the life of our friends and guests. And so we would love to know, like, if you could give us a Cliff Notes, remember Cliff Notes from when you were in high school and it was
Yes.
like the cheat guide
Yes.
to like, A Tale of Two Cities or whatever Shakespearean play you were reading at the time. So give us a Cliff Notes from the life of Dara LaPorta. Now something like now that you know this is like the cheat code for what you've learned.
Yeah. I think when you first kind of had sent me that question, my first thing was just, man, I wish I could have understood earlier. I knew it in my head, but not in my heart. Like, God is all that matters, and he just is. He is all that matters. And living close and in relationship to him, like, you're gonna live. He's gonna tell you, he's gonna show you, your life's gonna work out. I just believe that. But along with that, I did think that I think we're always waiting for the next season. We're always waiting for this until, and again, it goes along with just, well, then I can really do stuff for God. Then I can really build God's kingdom. Then I'll be happy, all of that. And I just wish, again, when I was in those early years of motherhood and just felt like I was drowning, I wish I could have had a little bit of a different perspective, or even the years when I was following Matt around in baseball and feeling like I didn't have a place. Like, I wish I would have made more of that time and not just kept waiting till, well, when he gets a long-term contract, which never happened, and we'll be more settled. And then when the kids get older, and then when they're sleeping through the night. And I think we do that in so many areas of our lives, that we just keep waiting to live, really, until the next thing happens. And that would be my biggest, like, I wish I would have known that earlier.
Gosh, that's such good advice. The whole I would kind of sum that up as like, be here now. Like, that's the thing, like, live your life now and invest in your relationships, your health, and ultimately your relationship with Jesus now. Don't wait till, like you said, all these other things sort of fall into place.
I'm so glad that you said that, because that's one of the things, looking back on my own journey as well, that it was like, just start. It doesn't have to be perfect. You don't have to have everything. You don't have to be fit to get fit. You just
good.
So good.
Start. You don't have to you don't even have to want to get up early to start the habit of getting up early. Sometimes it's just a matter of deciding, this is who I'm going to be, and I'm going to do whatever it takes to start getting there. I know one of the things that I do is sometimes I'll be like, okay, I'm going to get up early, but then what? Like, I don't know what to do when I get up early. So I'll often write down the night before, well, what are you going to do when you get up? I'm like, I'm going to make my coffee, and I'm going to read my Bible or listen to a podcast or whatever. So like, just like bossing myself around. So, well, Dara, in closing, outside of health and wellness and getting up early, we want to know, like, what's one thing that you're totally into right now that's outside of your whole realm of health and fitness and getting up early and setting routines? Like, what's something that you're totally into?
Like, does Netflix count?
Always.
Yes. Is there a show on Netflix?
No.
Yes. Hey, it can be serious or fun.
Yes.
Yeah, no, that was the first thing I thought of. No, truly, actually, and I break all the rules because they say, to bedtime routine, turn your screens off. Me and my husband, I fall asleep to like watching whatever show we're watching almost, every night. And that's just time together. And again, I know so many people will be like, that is not how you should connect. That is how we connect. Laughing together, watching Seinfeld, laughing together, watching Friends, whatever it is, that's how we connect at night. So that really is like the part of my day I probably look forward to the most, which I think if it's spent with my husband, then I'm doing okay, So let's see, we cycle through, like we've rewatched Friends, Seinfeld, Office, but we actually started, you guys are going to love this. We actually started Cheers.
Oh my gosh. It's the best show ever.
Well, you hear so much about it, but Matt and I like weren't even born when it, aired for the first time, and it was like, we should watch it. Obviously it was like kind of a big deal, and we're enjoying it.
It's hilarious. So when you're finished with Cheers, you have to watch Frasier. Have you ever watched Frasier?
No, but it's like the
It's a
spinoff,
spinoff,
right?
and I actually think it's funnier than Cheers. That's one of the ones that we will go back and watch old episodes. That we
Anytime.
do the same thing.
Yes.
Right now, we're on a Big Bang Theory kick. I can't tell you how many times we've watched Big Bang Theory, but that's kind of how we end our night together too. And now
Yeah.
our almost 15-year-old is watching them with us, which is also really funny to see him like catch
That's
the humor
awesome.
that we think is funny
Yeah.
too. So I
That's
think
really
that's great.
cool.
I think it's totally fine that your thing that you're into outside of all the healthy things is a little levity. I always think that's good.
Yes.
So it's
Yes.
called balance, people. So that's good.
Exactly.
Well,
Yeah.
I think I would just sum up today's conversation in 3 ways. Get up early, make your bed, move your body, right? Like that,
Yes.
that could be your tagline right there.
I
You didn't need
really
to hire
believe
a
if
marketing
you do
company.
those
You just could have
things.
come to our show and we could have told you.
Oh my gosh, I know. I always say discipline breeds discipline.
Yes.
And
That's so
when you
good.
start getting disciplined in one area, it has this ripple effect, and you're more motivated to do the other things. And it starts with waking up early, making your bed, and moving your body, for sure.
That's awesome. Hey, Dara, thank you so much for joining us. It's just been such a pleasure to catch up with you and hear your heart and your passion for helping women kind of take some simple things that can really transform their life and put them into action. So thank you so much for being with us today. We appreciate you jumping in the pool with us.
Yes, it was as much fun as I thought it would be.
Good. Yay, mission accomplished. All right. Well, you can find out more about Dara on her website. Again, we'll put that information in the show notes, and we will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Thank you, ladies.
Well, that closes the chapter on another episode of the Page of Our Lives podcast. Make sure and head over to Facebook and Instagram, where you can find us at Page of Our Lives podcast. That's PAGE of Our Lives podcast. We also have the video version of our podcast available on YouTube. Wherever you find us, that's where you're going to find our show notes and links to anything we mentioned in today's episode. Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you next week.